Game development can be messy at times. Changing things in the code can lead to unexpected results, but sometimes that's a good thing. In this video, we take a look at weird origin stories of some of the biggest game heroes in history. Get ready for 10 things you didn't know about famous game characters. Lara Croft was the dream woman of many teenage boys in the 90s. She is, of course, famous for her massive chest, at least until the designers gave her a more normal look in the 2013 reboot. But did you know her two biggest assets were the result of an accident?
So you think all this talking is just holding me up?
I don't know where his little jackrabbit frog legs are running him to.
Artist Toby Gard accidentally increased her breast size by 150% while designing the character. However, the other members of the development team liked this busty version of Lara so much they decided to keep her that way. In the words of legendary painter Bob Ross, "We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents." Mario is one of the most recognizable characters in gaming. His red hat and big moustache make him stand out from the crowd. However, they were both added because of the limited graphical power of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Miyamoto didn't want to render hair, so he simply put a hat on the character and said he was a plumber. It was also very hard to draw a mouth on the little guy, so they gave him a big mustache instead. You have to admire the clever ways in which Miyamoto circumvented the limitations of Nintendo's hardware. Minecraft is one of the biggest games in the world. Everybody knows the creepers that come out at night and attack the player. They look pretty scary in a game with such blocky graphics. However, this weird design was the result of a coding error. Game developer Notch wanted to put a pig in the game, but he made a typing mistake. This resulted in a disfigured model we now know as the Creeper. Their distinct appearance made them a widely recognizable Minecraft icon over the years. It's kind of crazy to think that the most famous enemy was made by mistake.
Thanks, Roxas. You can have this back.
Do you remember anything?
Kingdom Hearts brought the world of Final Fantasy and Disney together. However, you can imagine there were a lot of meetings during the production of the game. In one of the earlier versions, the main character used a giant chainsaw as a weapon. While we doubt it looked anything like Gears of War, it was too violent for Disney's liking. The developers changed it into the iconic Keyblade.
So this is called a Keyblade?
Huh? Hey, give it back!
While this was technically still a sword, it did get the approval of Disney. We guess it's okay to bash someone's skull in with something that looks like a giant key.
Thunder!
Banjo-Kazooie is a beloved duo from the Nintendo 64 era. The bear and bird seem like a match made in heaven, but their origin story's quite weird. Developer Rare originally had you only control Banjo. However, they wanted players to be able to glide in the air. So they came up with a few ideas to make the bear fly. This ended up being a bird that popped out of his backpack. We always considered Banjo and Kazooie to be equals, but the bird is nothing more than a tool for the bear. We guess Banjo-Kazooie sounds a lot better than Banjo Jetpack. Kirby is one of Nintendo's biggest characters, but did you know that he was actually supposed to look completely different? The developer simply put a pink blob in the game so that they could start programming the levels. They figured that the designers would change the character at a later date. However, the team grew fond of the placeholder graphics and decided to keep Kirby the way he was. His name also has a hidden meaning. It's a tribute to the American lawyer John J. Kirby, who saved Nintendo in a very expensive lawsuit. Film studio Universal sued the Japanese developer in the 80s for using the name Donkey Kong. According to them, this was way too similar to the famous King Kong movie. Kirby won the lawsuit, after which Nintendo bought him a sailboat called the Donkey Kong and immortalized him as a fat pink blob. We all know the famous platform hero called Rockman. Well, maybe you know him better by his Western name, Mega Man. When the Japanese developer brought the game to the West, they wanted to use the literal translation, which is Rockman. However, the American office advised against it, since rock is popular slang for crack cocaine. They changed it to Mega and the Blue Bomber was born. But did you know that he also wasn't supposed to be blue? The creator, Inafune, didn't want to make a blue game hero, but said he had no choice because of the limited color palette of the NES. The color blue has the most shades out of all available colors, so they ended up going with that.
Okay, there we go. Crash Bandicoot.
Is there a problem?
No, just,
Talking about colorful game heroes, we have to mention the bright orange Crash Bandicoot. This PlayStation hero really stands out because of his color. However, as it turns out, this was also just a practical choice by the designers. He was made bright orange so they matched the color palette of the levels. They tried a bunch of other colors, but they all looked ugly, so they settled with orange.
That was not too bad.
what is that thing, a fox?
A bandicoot.
Looks like a fox. It's like a fox in jeans.
Besides, it made Crash Bandicoot stand out from the other game heroes like Sonic and Mario, which was only a good thing.
Perfect.
By the way, foxes can't do this.
It's a bandicoot.
That doesn't look anything like a bandicoot.
Have you ever seen a bandicoot?
The origin of Rayman is a funny story of turning something negative into something positive. The small development team had a hard time animating the limbs of the main character in their platform game. They tried a bunch of different things, but nothing looked right. At some point, they simply gave up and made his hands and feet float in the air. This limbless design turned out to be a great idea, as it allowed for many unique gameplay features. Rayman could punch much further since his fists weren't connected to his body. Another happy accident in the world of game design. While Sega came up with Sonic, they wanted him to be everything that Mario wasn't. So they made him blue, super fast, and a hedgehog. Sega was also a big fan of Michael Jackson at the time. They liked him so much they copied his red shoes from the Bad album onto their game character. He wasn't always called Sonic either. His original name is Mr. Needlemouse, which is the literal translation of the Japanese word for hedgehog. Let's all be glad they changed it to Sonic, because nobody wants to play a game called Mr. Needlemouse.
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
How many of these gaming facts did you already know? Share your stories with other hardcore gamers in the comments, and we hope to see you again here on Zoomin Games.